This segment of Delmarva Live is brought to you by State Farm Insurance.
Well, the weather is warming up, and you know that means you can expect to hear the roar of more motorcycles on the road.
Yeah, and whether you're on the motorcycle or you're a driver near one, there are steps we all need to take to make sure everyone stays safe. Joining us today with a few guidelines is Eric James, a State Farm Insurance agent in Del Mar. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Eric.
Thank you for having me.
So it's happened to many of us. You know, you're driving along and then it seems like out of nowhere a motorcycle appears.
Sure.
We really need to be extra careful on the road.
Absolutely. With warmer weather, there's going to be an increased amount of motorcyclists on the roads. They can come from multiple different angles. They can be in blind spots that most vehicles can't be in. So it's very recommended to make sure that you're paying attention to where you are and where they could potentially be. Absolutely.
Be careful. All right, you've got a bike. I don't have a bike yet. One of these days I'm going to get a bike. But so let's say I'm not on my bike, I'm in the car, and I'm approaching a motorcycle. There are things that I can do to make sure that everybody stays safe in that encounter.
Correct.
What can I do?
Well, first you can give enough space between you and the motorcycle to allow for not only the motorcycle to stop, but also for you to stop as well.
Mm-hmm.
Don't always trust a turn signal.
Really?
Absolutely. Turn signals don't automatically turn off on a motorcycle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If there's any type of inclement weather conditions, give extra space to motorcyclists because they could need more room to brake as well.
Not just rain, we're talking wind.
Wind,
things
rain,
like that.
Anything else. Absolutely. It's twice as bad for a motorcyclist as it is for a typical vehicle.
And if you're the driver behind the motorcycle, you're responsible, right? If you were to run into them?
Absolutely. You would be held liable if you run into the back of a motorcycle, just like you would be if you were to run into the back of an automobile.
So let's talk about distances between cars and motorcycles and vice versa.
Okay. Currently, there's recommended, in Delaware, there's 2 seconds between yourself and a motorcycle. In Maryland, it's 3 to 4 seconds, and
Yeah.
in Virginia, it's a minimum of 3 seconds.
So in other words, if I'm behind a motorcycle, if I pick out a point on the side of the road, when the bike passes it, I start counting 1001, 1002, 1000, and that's my following distance, what I should be doing, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, just make sure I get that. All right, so let's say that I'm the one on the motorcycle.
Okay.
What do I now need to do as a motorcycle rider to be safe?
It's recommended that you wear a helmet, and any passenger wear a helmet. Also, make sure you're responsible with your speed and don't drink and drive.
Very important.
Now, there are various rules for wearing a helmet, right?
There are, and they vary by state.
And now, in Delaware, if you're 19 or under, you have to have one, right?
That is correct. In 19 under, you have to have a helmet on.
Yeah.
If you're over 19, you have to have it on the motorcycle with you. In Maryland, you have to have it on for both passenger and for the operator, and same in Virginia as well.
Gotcha.
All right. Do you have any advice for someone who may be thinking about buying a motorcycle?
I think the most important advice is to make sure to look for anti-lock brake systems. It was
Really?
available last year on 80 models in 2012. It doesn't eliminate all dangers, but it stops. Motorcycles currently have 2 braking systems, so the driver has to engage 2 brakes to stop. Which, if they lock it up, it could actually cause them to roll the bike over or flip it over. So the anti-lock brakes prevents that type of locking your brakes.
Right.
Well, I didn't even know that was available on motorcycles. How about that? Eric James, thank you so much
Thank you.
for this information this afternoon. Valuable stuff for
information.
you. If you'd like more information from State Farm Insurance on motorcycle safety, go to delmarvalife.com and click on the show tab. You're looking for it? It's on the left side of our home screen. Well, hold on to all of that information because you're going to need it, especially this weekend.
That's right. Hundreds of motorcycles will make their way from Dover to Rehoboth Beach to raise money for a good cause. Brian is in Dover this afternoon with more. Brian?
Well, Lisa and Jimmy, it's all part of the 7th annual Ride to the Tide. When we come back, we'll tell you more about the ride, the cause it benefits, and how you can get involved.
But first, we've teamed up with Sussex County Federal Credit Union to help you make better sense of your money. Here's Cherie with this week's tip.
On behalf of Sussex County Federal Credit Union, I'm Cherie Coleman with this week's Dollars and Cents tip for small business owners. Small businesses face many everyday expenses, from office supplies to travel. Company credit cards are a convenient option because they allow you to defer payment. Before choosing a credit card, carefully evaluate the interest rate, fees, and terms. Be sure to pay your credit card bill on time to build your company's credit record. You should also be aware of the potential differences between credit cards issued for consumer use and credit cards issued for corporate, small business, or other professional use. There are strict limits on a consumer's liability for unauthorized transactions, generally no more than $50. By contrast, if a card issuer provides 10 or more credit cards to a company for employee use, it may require the business to assume an unlimited liability for unauthorized transactions. To learn more about the ins and outs of using corporate credit cards, along with an array of other small business payment options, contact Sussex County Federal Credit Union. Together, we can achieve more.